Welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers. I am your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin Heller.
And today we will be talking a bit about international baseball players, their countries of origins, the leagues they play in, kind of just to get a feel for where else baseball is played and the people that represent those leagues, as well as specifically the recent contract extension signed by Ozzie Albies of the Atlanta Braves, but also a little bit of contract extensions from around the MLB as of late, and kind of how it's changed the market recently.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Before we get started, here is an ad from our friends over at Sports Trebuchet.
Do you like to talk about sports?
Do you like podcasts?
Do you like talking about professional wrestling?
Do you like medieval weaponry?
Then check us out at Sports Trebuchet on Twitter, or listen to us, Sports Trebuchet on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or anywhere you listen.
All right, we're back. Let's get rolling in on the topic. So, Corwin, you took the NPB, right?
Yes.
All right, give me what you got. What'd you come up with for the NPB, the Nippon Professional Baseball League?
So basically, I just went on and looked up who the hell won the most MVPs in NPB history, because there's so many Japanese players who never end up coming over to the MLB. It's not something I've ever kept tabs on or followed in any way, so I figured, why not check, see who's won the most MVPs, and hopefully we'll cut out any guys who ended up being super huge MLB stars, which I did have to cut out Ichiro Suzuki and Hideki Matsui for obvious reasons. They are somewhat well known in the United States. So just went with solely NPB players. And leading it off is someone that Josh talked about in the last episode, Sadaharu Oh, who won 9 MVPs in 1964, 65, 67, 69, 70, 73, 74, 76, and 77. He also ended up playing in the Chinese League, and I believe also in the Korean League. So he's put up even better seasons there as well. He's basically the coolest fucking dude ever.
Yeah, he was the inspiration for why I thought this might be a fun little thing to do. And funny enough, Matt and I got together the other night and we watched this baseball movie from the 90s starring Tom Selleck called Mr. Baseball. Have you ever seen it or heard of it?
I've only heard it from you talking about it.
Okay, so it's an interesting movie. It's not horribly good, but if you like baseball and Tom Selleck's mustache, it's fun. But what's funny is that it's like one of the characters in the movie is like loosely based on Sadaharu Oh. And I'm watching it, I'm like, this is fucking hysterical. Like, I just started getting into like who the fuck this dude is. And they're talking about how like this is the guy that like won a bunch of MVPs. He like holds the home run record. He's now a player manager who like didn't want to see his home run record broken. And Sadaharu Oh actually became a manager of MPB team, I believe, and had a player who was threatening to break one of his home run records and started benching him so he wouldn't. Like, so it was funny. I just saw like a Sadaharu Oh parallel in this relatively specific or like niche or forgotten movie from the 90s, and it felt like this whole week has just been this weird vortex surrounding Sadaharu Oh and Asian baseball. So yeah, sorry. What else you got for the NPB?
So I just figured I'd give some of Sadaharu Oh's career statistics with you, because why not? That's what we're here to talk about.
Fuck yeah.
He played for 22 seasons from 1959 to 1980 in the Japanese Central League for the Yomiuri Giants in Tokyo. He played in 2,831 games, roughly 2,800 hits, 868 home runs, which is the most all-time in any level of baseball, which we talked about previously. 2,200 RBI, 84 stolen bases, almost 2,400 walks, only 1,300 strikeouts, bat .301 for his career, had an OPS of 1,080. Yeah, this guy was really fucking good. Not to mention, he had 9 All-Star MVP. Well, not All-Star MVPs, MVPs in this league.
Plus, his name is awesome. It's so much fun to
Saharo.
say. It's such a good name. It's such a great name. That's the name of a great baseball player.
He's also managed for 19 seasons and has
Yeah,
a career win record of .550, which is
That's what I was
tremendous.
saying. Like he was managing a player who was, like, the story goes, like he was like threatening to break not like the big home run record, but like one of his home run records, because I think he held record for like, you know, most home runs ever, but also like most consecutive games with a home run or something. And like he like literally benched a player so that he wouldn't break his own home run record. And I'm like, that's a level of pettiness I absolutely support. So yeah, right on. Any
So
other no, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I figured I'd just go over the top guys.
That's what I was going to ask. Perfect.
Yep. So next on our list of most MVP awards is Shigeo Nagashimi, who has 5 Nippon MVP awards, who just happened to win them in the same division as Sadaharu O in each of the years where he didn't win the award, from 1961 to 1971. So for 11 years, only 2 people had won an MVP award in the MPCL.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's not like he's putting up any stats that put the other guy to shame. I just forgot his fucking name. Sadahari, oh, fuck. So, in Shigeo Nagashimi's career, he bat .305 with 444 home runs, 2,471 hits, 1,500 RBI, a winning percentage of .522. Played for the Yomiuri Giants from 1958 to 1974, and managed
So wait, he was
them.
Sadaharu's teammate?
Yeah.
Wow. So not only did only 2 dudes win the MVP for 11 years, 2 dudes on the same team?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's crazy. I did not know that. That's awesome.
He also managed this team from 75 to 80 and from 93 to 2001.
That's
As
so
a player, he won 11 Japanese Series championships, won 3 as a manager, Rookie of the Year, 4-time Japanese Series MVP.
Who do you think would be his major league equivalent?
Um,
Joe Torre, maybe?
I don't think.
I mean, Joe Torre doesn't have the player MVPs, but he has like all the but only the World Series success as a manager.
Player wise, I would say he was like a Lou Gehrig type deal, kind of like world class all time player in the shadow of
see that.
the greatest of all time. As a
makes
manager,
sense.
I don't think anyone relates.
That's
It's not
tough.
like Lou Gehrig won, 3 championships as a manager.
Yeah, I mean I guess Torre does fit the bill though for the managing aspect. A really good former player who, but although, I mean his managerial success is far outpasses his playing success. Although, have you ever looked at Joe Torre's playing stats?
No.
They're like really fucking good. Joe Torre won an MVP.
I did know that, but I don't know any of the specifics, and I feel like I'd be absolutely blown away if I looked at them.
I mean, like, I think the only reason I was so surprised about it is that you never hear about Joe Torre's playing career.
No,
It's
just
only
him as a
Joe
manager
Torre's
of the
managing
Yankees.
career. Yeah. So, like, when I saw it, I was like, whoa, these are, like, actually very good. Because, like, you look at a lot of, like, former managers, like, today's stats, like Kevin Cash's stats or, like, Joe Torre's stats or whatever, and they're like, yeah, they were ball players. But Joe Torre was, like, a good ball player. Like, he was really fucking MVP. What an MVP. That's a shortstop.
That's not something that just happens,
Yeah, at no point in baseball's history do you just, like, fall ass backwards into an MVP.
Well, Rick Porcello kind of did it with a.
He actually did do it with a Cy Young, yeah, because.
Cy Young. Yeah.
And he didn't get the most first place votes for that either.
Really?
Yeah, Justin Verlander did.
Oh fuck! I forgot about that. That's
yeah, because
fantastic.
I think there was a split vote between Verlander and someone split the second place votes, or it was a weird vote split where Verlander was the clear number one, but there wasn't there wasn't enough votes going to the other places, so everyone gave a first place vote to Verlander, and then all the second place votes went to Rick Porcello, and so he just cleaned house on the points of the second and third place votes and just fell ass backwards into a Cy Young.
It's the worst. It drives me nuts every time.
Fuck the Red Sox.
Right? Fuck the Red Sox.
Oh, an actual question. When?
Yes.
If you can find it offhand, when was the MPB founded?
Ooh, that's good to know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to look that up.
It's because it's got to be post World War II. But I also feel like it was immediately post World War II because I'm rather certain there's I've seen stats for Japanese players from the 50s. I feel like that's a thing.
All right, give me one guess.
What year was founded?
Yep.
I'm going to commit to the post World War II thing, so I'm going to say 1948.
So close. 1950 in Tokyo, Japan.
Oh, wow. I was really close. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed with myself. I'm going to jerk myself off real hard for this.
Yeah. I don't doubt that.
All right,
so
man. That was cool.
While I was looking up the comparison of these two, I looked back at some more of Sadahara O's highlights of his career. He was a two-time Triple Crown winner in 73, 74, and won the grand prize 3 times. He also has the Japanese record for OPS at 1.079 and RBI. So that's all I got on him.
Hold on 1 second. I want to look something up.
Okay,
what did you say his OPS was?
1.079.
That actually puts him tied with Lou Gehrig for third all time.
That's really fucking impressive.
Yeah, right behind Babe Ruth and Ted Williams. And Lou Gehrig's is legit. Oh, I just lost it. Where'd it go? There it is. 1.0798. So there's a fourth post decimal place digit there. But yeah, so he had a better
digit.
It doesn't matter. 3 is enough. But he has a better lifetime slugging than Barry Bonds in a different league. But still, to be above Barry Bonds in anything in any league anywhere is kind of impressive. So that's cool. And you were pretty fucking spot on with your Lou Gehrig comp.
Ayo, I do what I can.
And you do it okay.
I do it very much okay. But
so one of the ones I took was the Korean Baseball Organization, the KBO. I didn't actually tally who has the most. Let's see who has the most MVP awards. It looks like it's Lee Sung-yup with 5 from the Samsung Lions. Yeah, he's an infielder. Tell me more about his career.
He was a first baseman.
He was a first baseman. Sure.
You want to know how I know?
He had a lifetime batting average of 302. He has 467 home runs, 1,498 RBIs, 2,156 hits, 464 doubles. He also played in the MPB with a batting average of 257, 159 home runs, 439 RBIs, 686 hits with 138 doubles. And he played for the Yomiuri Giants. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, 5-time KBO MVP, 10-time KBO Gold Glove Award, 4-time Korean Series champion. He won an All-World Baseball Classic in 2006. He was a Korean Series MVP, and he was a 2-time Japanese Series champion, which is pretty fucking impressive. He has also an Olympic gold medal and an Olympic bronze medal, this is a fucking great career here, man. Damn, that's really cool.
I was like looking into him a little bit before we started today because, like he said, he played in the Japanese professional league for a while. So I was looking into him because it always listed him as being one of the best. He had a wild career. He was so fucking good. Like basically everyone said he was like unanimously the best Korean player of all time.
Yeah, he hit his 300th home run at age 26.
That's so damn impressive.
He used to hold, I'm not sure who holds it now, the Asian home run record of 56 home runs in one season when he was playing with the Samsung Lions in 2003. 56 home runs in a season. Especially, and one of the things I think needs to be highlighted when we're talking about Asian baseball is that it's not a home run league. Any of the leagues, I should say, are not home run leagues. Like if you watch NPB or KBO highlight reels, it's like watching 1920s baseball in America because people are like trying to hit the ball on the ground, trying to leg out infield singles, slapping the ball wherever they can. It's not like it's just not a home run, lift the ball in the air kind of style of play. So to see a dude hit this many home runs is like really fucking uncommon and very cool. And that's not to shit talk either Asian baseball because watching it is incredibly fun because of how vastly different it is from what you see in the MLB. Neither is bad, but having both be such diametric opposites while being the same sport is a lot of fun.
It's definitely one of those things where it definitely feels like it's a completely different sport when you watch it. Just because like the atmosphere is different. It looks so different with all the uniforms and fields, and just the style is. They're just so slap happy. Everyone plays like they're trying to be Ichiro Suzuki.
And can you blame them? I mean, really, the dude's just the best. No one's got more swag than Ichiro.
Everyone tries to play like Mike Trout now. Bryce Harper, Aaron Judges. You know, they're the cool guys.
So there are 5. Korean baseball players currently in the MLB. Only 5. Can you name them?
Shin-Soo Choo.
Shin-Soo Choo. What team is he on? Just as a guess.
Shin-Soo Choo. Cardinals.
No, he's on the Rangers.
Texas.
Texas Rangers. So that's one.
Fuck. The Cardinals' longtime closer. Fuck. What's his name?
If by long time you mean 2 seasons. But yeah, Sang-Won-Oh.
But he's old, so it feels like he was there forever.
Yeah, he was the saves leader. He probably still is the all-time saves leader in Japan. I doubt anyone's broken that shit. Huh?
So yeah, Sang-Won-Oh, Shin-Soo Choo, Eric Thames, of course, famously, big Korean.
He
guy.
does not count, but yes, I do love the acknowledgement of him because he's great.
Man, I don't know who else. Give me a hint.
I'll spot you one. Hyun-Jin Ryu of the Dodgers.
Okay.
Their opening day starter this season.
Gotcha.
You're missing one on the Pirates.
Right, oh, our fucking asshole Jung-Ho Kang.
Jung-Ho Kang.
Because he has like 6 DUIs in Korea.
One more. He plays for the Tampa Bay Rays. Former New York Yankee.
Tampa Bay Rays. Ooh. Is he a pitcher?
He's not a pitcher. He's a first baseman.
First baseman for the Yankees that is from Korea. Huh. I don't know.
Ji-Man Choi.
Oh, okay.
Ji-Man Choi. So those are the only 5 current, like active Korean MLB players. Even looking at the list of retired players, it's not very long, you know?
No.
There's not a ton of dudes. Granted, the league is young. When do you think the KBO was founded, if you had to guess?
1963.
1982.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's very recent. It is.
I was hoping it would be like yours and be
league.
like just a couple years after the end of Korea, stuff like that.
Well, that's actually why I asked you when the MPB was founded, because I had an idea of when it was founded, but I wasn't sure if it was right, because I had an idea of when the KBO was founded, and I, too, was way off.
Yeah, so much sooner than more recent, I mean.
Yeah, it's very, and I think that's probably why, that is definitely why there's just not as many, there's deep a history of Korean baseball players in the MLB. And, like, I know a few of these, like, former names. Like, I know who Chan Ho Park is. He was on the Dodgers. I knew that one. I know Dai Sung Koo because he was on the Mets. I'm just trying to see what are some of these other names. I don't know a lot of them. Yeah. I know that the Yankees had the Taiwanese pitcher.
Much smaller league than
Chen Min Wong.
The MPB.
Oh, definitely. I'm trying to think. There's it's tough because there's not a lot of names that are recognizable like there would be with the MPB because so few come over. Sang-won-oh is the leader in saves. He has 277 of them in the KBO. It's funny because they list him as still being an active player, which, I mean, he is, just not for them. There is an active player, though, that's kind of like directly behind him, Son Seong-yak, or Locke. I'm not sure if that's a lowercase L or an uppercase I, because who can say? I'm going to go with Sung Lok, who is 37 and looks like he's still playing for the Lot Giants. So he has a chance of breaking Sang-won-oh's... Sorry. Oh, no, I was right. Sang-won-oh. They just put it all backwards. They does have a decent shot at breaking his saves record. He's only 15 behind, so that could be broken.
How many years did Sang-won-oh play in Korea?
Let me pull up his page so I can give you that answer as I'm stalling for my laptop to find out. He played with the Samsung Lions from 2005 to 2013, then the Hanshin Tigers for 2014 to 15 for a 10 or 11-year career, if you count 25 and 2015 as seasons. So he's been playing professional baseball since 2005 and played the first 11 seasons of his career in the KBO.
It seems like he's been playing for longer.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wait, the Hanshin Tigers is the MPB. That's on the KBO. So he was in the KBO for 8 seasons. Wow, that actually makes the 277 saves really fucking impressive. Wow, that's a lot.
What's that average out to?
That's what, like 30 a season? 33 a season? I'm pulling up my calculator right now. So it's 277 divided by 8, 34.6 saves per season. And I don't know offhand how many games there are in a KBO season, but I'm very certain it's going to be less than 162.
And I'm sure he wasn't closing his entire career.
No, I'm sure he had to have tried starting at some point.
Right.
But yeah, he was a 7-time KBO All-Star, 5-time KBO Relief Man Award, which I think is a hysterical name. He was KBO Rookie of the Year. He won 5 Korean Series champions. He was the 2-time Korean Series MVP. He was an MPB All-Star. He was the CLCS, which is the Climax Series, which is what I guess Japan calls their central 2 teams from the Central League and Pacific League to see who will compete to go into the Japanese Series final. So he was that MVP and the 2-time MPB saves leader. For the only 2 seasons he was there, he led the league in saves. That's hysterical.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, you know what? It makes me sad that we didn't get to see in the MLB a younger Sang-won-oh because he's not old. I think he's 37 now. I just turned his page away. Let me go back to it. 36. He's 36, and he's still good. He is far from a bad pitcher. But we're definitely getting the decline phase of Sang-won-oh, and I really wish we got peak Sang-won-oh.
Yeah, he had such a tremendous rookie season in the MLB and just kind of fell apart after that.
I mean, pitching is volatile in general, and he was getting older, and the MLB is more competitive. So there's reasons for it. I'm willing to bet if he came over when he was younger, he would have had a really fucking nice career. It's just that we got him in his age 31 season, right? Mm-hmm. Which is usually what's considered the beginning of the decline period. So, but I think he could have been a really cool guy to watch in the MLB if he got to come over when he was a bit younger. But fuck it, I'll take as much Sang-Won-Oh as we can get, man. I like him.
Yeah, I agree. I like him a lot. I wish he was better. That's all I got to say about him.
Real quick, it looks like just from glancing that pitchers are not the main holders of the MVPs of the KBO. It looks like it's actually infielders, which I thought was interesting.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about how it was a lot more slap happy. Wouldn't be a surprise if it was also, led to an increase in play by infielders.
That's actually a really, really good thought. Oh, Eric Thames is on this list. Look at that. There he is. NC Dinos. So yeah, that's. I think those are some of the big names on here. I'm trying to see if there's anyone that comes up multiple times. Kim Sung-han for the Hai Tai Tigers. Jesus. He has multiple MVP wins. Chang Jun-hoon for the Bingray Eagles has 2 MVP wins. Park Byung-ho Park. These are all last name, first name. For the Next Gen Heroes has 2, and then Sun Dong-yeol for the Hai Tai Tigers also has 3 wins, and he's a pitcher. He's the only pitcher that has multiple MVP wins, 86, 89, and 90. So, yeah, I'd say those are some of the key names. I know the KBO is a rapidly growing league, and people have considered it to be one of the most exciting of the younger non-MLB leagues. So I really hope we see more players come over from there, because I like when players come from all over the place to be in the MLB. I think that's one of the reasons MLB is fun.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What did you got for... Huh?
What's up? No, what's up?
Oh, what did you say? I thought I cut you off.
I was going to say, how does that lead into your next league? But I think you were...
I was about to ask you about your next league.
I couldn't find much on Chinese Baseball League. They don't have anything really posted on Baseball Reference.
Yeah, neither does the KBO. I did all of those off of Wikipedia pages.
Well, look at you. Basically, all I got off of Wikipedia and Google was baseball players from China who are just really good in the MLB, and Sadaharu Oh, who also happen to be part Chinese. So they've just kind of adopted him as being their guy.
I can't blame them. Yeah. Are there any other names on the list that we would recognize, really?
Not really. Fuck, I already deleted his page, but Wei from Miami. Wei Yin
Chen?
Wei Yin Chen, yeah. He was really the only
I didn't know he was
current
Chinese.
guy. Yeah, he's the only real current player that's from China.
Oh, okay.
But after Sadaharu Oh, there is Wei Wang, which is a tremendous name, who doesn't have any information on Wikipedia, and as far as I know, doesn't quite have a Wikipedia page. Let me just do some quick research to see if I can dig a little deeper. All right, this is a real weird website. All right, here's some real shit. This is from one. So after I couldn't find any other Chinese players on Baseball Reference, I stopped looking. But I tried one more time for Wei Wang just to see. He has a 4-game sample size from playing for Team China in the Arizona Fall League.
Really?
where he had 12 plate appearances, did not record a single hit,
Oh.
struck out 3 times, and walked once for a batting average of 0 and an OPS of 167.
Oh, that's so sad.
He had 1 sac fly and a hit by pitch as well.
Oh, buddy.
This was in 2007 during his his age 28 season.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Bleacher Report coming in. Actually, no, this is Baseball Reference. What the fuck is this? It's like a Wikipedia page on Baseball Reference. It doesn't have any stats. It's just like paragraph of text.
I do not know.
All right. I'm just gonna wing it. He played for the Beijing Tigers in 2002 all the way up to 2015. His rookie year, he hit for 308, 357, 385. He was a catcher, batted 444, 500, and 1.1111 in the college championship in China. This is such a weird... fuck this. Like, this is useless.
We can just move on.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Yeah, this
Damn
is
you, China. Give us information.
It's those restrictive internet services over there. They really got it locked down when it comes to baseball scorekeeping.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, part of the reason I wanted to do this when I brought up the idea to Corwin was that it would seem like a fun opportunity for us to do 2 well-known leagues where he took the MPB and I took the KBO, and then I just picked 2 other random leagues that I didn't know much of anything about. So Corwin got the Chinese Professional Baseball League, I think is what it's called, and I took the Dominican League, which I know is popular during the winter. You get a lot of like MLB prospects and minor leaguers who go down there to get like off-season reps and at bats and plate appearances and innings if you're a pitcher and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to see like what it was about and if it was like what the year-round kind of situation looks like. So the Dominican Professional Baseball League was founded in 1951, and there's only 6 teams, which at first threw me off. But then I remembered that the DR is not that big, and it relative to the U.S., and so that makes a lot of sense that only be 6 teams. Seeing as the population of the Dominican Republic is, I just lost it. I just had it. Where'd it go? 10.7 million people, which is a good 300 million less than the U.S. So, yeah, they don't need 30 teams.
So I know we're a statistics podcast, but do you think we need to clarify just how much smaller that is than the U.S.? Or do you think these guys have a good
That's
idea?
only 2 million more people than New York City. Not New York State. New York City.
New York City.
Yeah. So the DR is not... Like, imagine if New York had 6 teams, and congrats, you've now pictured the Dominican Republic.
Honestly, 6 New York teams probably wouldn't be that bad of a league.
No. I would take the... Well, we'll move on. I want to say these names, though, because these names for these teams are wonderful, and I want to try to say them as horribly as I can. Well, I want to try to say them right, but they're going to end up coming out horribly. They are the Aguilas Cabeñas, the Estrellas Orientales, which sounds Asian, and I don't know why it's like Orientals is in there. That sounds wrong. The Gigantes de Cibao, the Leones del Escogido, the Tigres de Licey, and the Toros del Este. Oh, that was fun for me.
Christ.
That was a lot of fun for me.
It's a good thing nobody listens to us in the Dominican Republic.
If they do, I mean, they're more than welcome to tell me how to pronounce these names correctly and to let me know,
fair enough.
and to let me know who they fucking root for. I want to learn about the Dominican League because one of the reasons I thought the Dominican League would be fun is that, I mean, the DR has produced some of the most talented baseball players in MLB history. Just to go through a few: Albert Pujols, David Ortiz, Pedro Martinez, Vlad Guerrero Sr., Adrian Beltre, Manny Ramirez, Juan Marichal, Robinson Cano, Nelson Cruz, Edwin Encarnacion, Sammy Sosa, Johnny Cueto, Alfonso Soriano, Bartolo Colon. This list can go on for literally forever. I mean,
That's
it is
why
an
they
extensive list.
That's why they survive with only having 6 teams, because those are 6 really good teams.
Yeah, and there's 6 teams that are going to produce top-end talent forever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's the
I mean,
water in there?
imagine if all of these people, it's in the blood. I mean, it's just. I actually asked. I remember a lot of the people I hung out with when I was in college were from the DR. And I asked them what they thought about having so many, do you root for specific teams because they have especially representative DR population of their players or anything? And they were like, absolutely. Like, you want to root for whatever. Like, they were like, I had people saying like, I'm a diehard Yankees fan, but like when I was a kid, I was rooting for the Red Sox whenever Pedro Martinez was playing because that was my guy. Like, it was Pedro. Like, I'm rooting for Pedro to go win the game. So. Really strong baseball roots in that country, which I think is fucking righteous because I just love that shit so much. And so what I found when I was trying to find like some of the most dominant players in like Dominican professional baseball league history is that a lot of them are just major league players, like we all know already. Like a lot of them are these guys, like I've already brought up.
Who doesn't know Albert Pujols?
Exactly. Everyone does. I'm going to scroll down this list super far. I'm at like the 60th most famous person on this list because I guess it ranked it. And I'm still looking at Ketel Marte for shortstop for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm like, I know exactly who that is. Mm-hmm. Huh?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, he is a starter for the Diamondbacks for the past couple of years. He's a good young player.
Yeah, or Ivan Nova is right here as well. Like, he just pitched yesterday. Like, I know who this is.
For the Pirates for a while. Well, a little while.
1 season.
Yeah, long enough.
Yeah,
2 games is a long time.
One season.
I think it was more than 1 season.
I thought it was one. I think. Was it 2? I forgot. It was only 1 or 2 because I know it was. It went from Yankees to Pirates to. He's now with the White Sox, and I thought it was all in consecutive seasons, but it might have been 2 years now that you say that. He might have left the Yankees as a free agent.
He was in Pittsburgh for about 2 1/3 seasons, 2.5, 2 1/3 seasons.
Oh, because the Yankees traded him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember this. That was the same offseason we traded like Aroldis Chapman and Andrew Miller. Yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, same.
Man,
season.
Those trades really came back to bite the Yankees.
Yeah, really terrible getting Gleyber Torres and Clint Frazier. Awful how that worked out. And then re-signing Aroldis Chapman. Oh, no.
Just drag your nuts across the face of the Chicago Cubs.
Hey, they won the World Series. I doubt they care. I mean, it literally could not have worked out any better for them.
I know you understand the pettiness of professional sports.
I do. I just want to make sure it's warranted. Yeah, so do you want to move on from this? I had a good time talking about this, but...
Oh, yeah, same. I'm ready to move on if you want.
All right, because I have been dying to talk about the Ozzie Albies contract.
Let's fucking do it. I actually saved some shit on my phone just to prep for this. Like shit I was reading about it.
Okay. So for reference, the Ozzie Albies contract is 7 years and $35 million. Actually, I'm gonna pull up the spot chart just to make sure we have all the exact details on it. Okay, so it's a 7-year, $35 million contract. The $35 million is guaranteed. It's an AAV of $5 million. He'll earn a base salary this season of $1 million while carrying a total salary of $1 million. So it seems very straightforward.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is very, very straightforward. Yeah, this is a terrible, terrible, terrible contract. He is 22. He has over a full season of service time, including making the All-Star game last season. And this is going to take away the last 4 years of team control that he had, which is all of his ARB years and 3 years of free agency. And it will take him so that he's a free agent at the age of 31. Or sorry, no, 29. Is there 2 club options? Is that what I'm looking at? Yeah. There's a 2026 and a 2027 club option, including a $4 million buyout. So that is, wow, that's bad.
Which is not a lot. So
no.
I'm just going to read off some information that I got from one of these articles that I was reading, if you want, and then we can go deeper into how we feel about this.
How about it?
Sounds good. So Albies is due an average of $5 million a year over the next 7 seasons. If Albies had played through arbitration, he would have played for $575,000 this season and a modest raise in 2020. So if we're saying it's going to be somewhere like even just $1 million, which is reasonable for what he would expect, he would have received performance bonuses each of the next 3 seasons and would have been through arbitration before reaching free agency after 2023. Just as a benchmark, guys who are a little bit older than him, but not all-stars at the caliber of Ozzie Albies, so guys like Cesar Hernandez has played 4 full big league seasons, none of which were as productive as Albies in 2018. Hernandez is a solid starting second baseman and has already made $15.4 million just from 2017 to 2019. Yes. If Albies continues to perform at an all-star level, Carlos Correa, for example, which would be kind of like the high end of where he could reasonably end up being, won his first arbitration case for $5 million a year. Guys like Javi Baez settled for 5.2, and Francisco Lindor for $10.5 million. Each are also going to get raises each of the next 2 years before hitting free agency. Other guys on the lower end of the spectrum, we could say like Jurickson Profar, played 112 games from 2014 to 2017, so very injury riddled. So we're saying if Albies didn't sign and ended up being hurt for the most of the next several seasons before arbitration or whatnot, made $2.6 million before those 4 years before hitting arbitration, and then he got brought up to $3.6 million per year in 2019. So at the very worst, he could be making $3.6 million per year. At the very worst, at the max, if he hit true superstar level like Francisco Lindor, he could be making $10.5 per year, which is such a wild spectrum to think of, where he would settle on $5 million. The big thing for me, though, is the rumor regarding why he was pushed into signing this contract so quickly.
I think I know this rumor you're talking about. Yeah, let me hear it.
Right. So Albies' agent was reportedly nervous that his client was going to jump ship and head to a better agency, so he pushed the contract through quickly to get the commission before he could switch. The Braves were compliant, knowing that he was being heavily unrepresented. All of this is just absolutely insane on all fronts.
I know, and I'll say what I was going to say for just a second, because this is so incredibly shitty on just everyone's part. It's shitty for Albies because this is so comically, and it's tough because it's tough to look at a guy who's going to make $5 million a year for the next 7 years and say he's getting fucked. But given the market that we're talking about, given the sport we're talking about, the profession, and the economics surrounding the whole scenario, he's getting fucked. The fact that his agent did this to him is fucked. The fact that the Braves would do this to him is fucked. The fact that the MLBPA didn't do anything about it is fucked. Like, this whole situation is insane. Like, to me, personally, this goes well beyond just being a bad contract. Because this is awful. This is so bad. From a value standpoint, I don't. That's the thing. It obviously he's worth more than this. He's obviously his one season last year. If you go back and listen to our wins above replacement episode in terms of buying wins above replacement, we said that one win above replacement was worth roughly $10 million. His season last year is worth more than the entire value of this contract extension. He was like a 4.1 wins above replacement player last season, and at $10 million per WAR, that's $40 million. That's more than this fucking extension for the entirety of the 7 years. That's crazy. That's absolute, and that's why everyone's like, he really got fucked, because he got railed. He got absolutely railed. The Braves just got hundreds of millions of excess value out of this guy. It's insane.
So I know we talked about this a little bit beforehand.
Right.
Do you want to dive into the stuff you were saying about the Braves side of this, on how this is status quo for them?
Well, I don't want to say that's tough. All right, let me reiterate what I was saying before, so there's a context for it. I'm of the opinion that this is abuse. Like, I think that they're taking advantage of the kid. I really do. I think that they are taking advantage of a Latino player from a small, relatively poor country. They dangled $35 million in front of his face and said, "Look at this, you fucking broke sack of shit. You can pay for your family's whole entire lives forever." They're not wrong about that. They're absolutely not wrong about that. But they're emotionally, if I'm willing to bet they did that, because that's how arbitration works too. And I'm willing to bet that they sat there and emotionally tried to convince this kid that it would be wrong of him to not set his family up for life by taking $35 million rather than try to pay him a fair wage. And Cord and I don't want to say argued, because that seems way too harsh, but we talked about this a little bit. And one of the things that I brought up is that the fact that the Braves have a very poor, very recent track record with Hispanic players, because they did sign several underage players to contracts to try to skirt like the international signing pool and skirt MLB and labor laws by signing 14-year-old players to contracts, thus causing them to lose like a lot of their Hispanic players to other teams. There was like a special draft where MLB teams could just take Braves prospects that were of age and then sent all the other prospects that were signed illegally back into the pool to get signed when they became of age, because the Braves really, really broke the law. So they're not exactly an organization known for like giving a shit, which I'm not going to say is a specifically Braves issue. You could say that they're just the one that got caught, but they're the one that got caught. And that's a really fucking bad look. It's also terrible for the Ozzie Albies like manager or agent, I should say. But like, wow, for the Braves, this is. I really think they took advantage of this kid. This kid.
It's amazing how, from a business perspective and a baseball perspective, how well the Braves were able to lock up the future of their superstars at such a just penny pinching, just absolutely bottom of the basket rate. They locked up 19 years of Ronald Acuna and 19 years of combined Ronald Acuna and Ozzie Albies for $145 million this year. 135, sorry. I know, man.
Yeah. I honestly wonder if this is going to hurt them down the road in terms of being able to sign other players, because players do look at this. Players really do, like, not only veterans, but also players that get drafted by these teams. They really do look at how the organization treats young talent and veterans to make decisions as to whether or not they want to play for that organization. And I really wonder how this is going to affect. Eloy Jimenez. No, Yohan Moncada. Yohan Moncada got paid $30 million by the Red Sox before he even hit triple fucking A. And Ozzie Albies, with an all-star appearance under his belt, got $5 million more than that.
I mean, let's look at the Scott Kingery contract from last year. Before he even made his MLB debut, he signs a 6-year contract worth, a 6-year, $24 million contract, which 2 options that could make the deal worth $65 million. For a kid that never played a single at-bat in the MLB and ended up putting up a completely underwhelming first season, getting just slightly less than a guy who is an actual MLB All-Star.
How much do you think Anthony Rendon made over his 4 arbitration seasons?
Do you have it in front of you? Or?
I do.
Okay. Anthony Rendon, 4 arbitration seasons. I'm going to say it's got to be like $30 million?
$35 million.
35.
The exact amount
seasons.
This extension is, and he's losing free agent seasons. So Rendon made this money in 4 years without having to sacrifice any of his free agency. And Ozzie Albies just signed this shit away. And Rendon's going to be a coveted free agent, which you know what that's going to do? If he wants to sign an extension with the Nationals, it's going to drive the price of that extension up.
Yeah. So, looking at this and looking at all the free agency signings that, well, not free agency, but extension signings that players have signed this year, everyone seems to be signing longer-term contracts for lower AAV. Ozzie Albies is just the pinnacle of this. Do you think players are overvaluing the desire to lock up money long-term and kind of avoid the stress of having to perform year after year, worry about injuries, stuff like that, in order to get this big free agent contract, in order to sign for some money and get that small guarantee?
It's tough I think it's tough to pick one specific reason. I think it's been a culture that's been created by the last CBA negotiation. So I think there's a few things, like the fact that the next CBA is coming up in 3 seasons. So it's like, let's get money now and let's be secure through that no matter what happens. Like, I don't want to get fucked if there's a strike. Like, they still got to pay me. So I think that comes into play. I think the fact that there's been more free agents left hanging every off season, that's got people hanging. The fact that there's less, like, I'll say middle class contracts out there seemingly has people like kind of teetering on the edge a little bit. So I think it's been this whole culture that the MLB Players Association has allowed to happen, has been making this sense of fear and getting what you can get while you can get it come about. Yeah, because I think teams are probably going into a lot of these meetings saying, do you want to end up like Dallas Keuchel? Do you want to end up like Craig Kimbrell? Do you want to end up like Mike Moustakas? You know? No, you don't. So what we can do is we can offer you this much money right now. You can walk away from it with enough money to set up you and your family for life, even if you never get a free agent contract. Or you can risk arbitration, see if you get hurt, see if you don't, you know? So that's why it's so shitty, because the players have no cards to hold in this situation outside of an upcoming strike. Right. Because the teams make the rules. The teams decide what the market is. The teams decide what the contracts are going to be. The teams decide what the extensions are. And all players can do. Players used to be able to say, I don't want to sign this extension. I want to hit free agency and find my true market value. But now they don't want to do that because teams decided that they don't want to spend on free agency. So now they're deciding a new market value that players have almost no effect over. So it's this bizarre backwards world where every single card on the deck is held by the teams, except for actually playing the game, which would be a strike for the players, which they'll probably end up happening in the next CBA in a few years, but because this is just bad.
So how convinced are you that there's going to be a strike at the next CBA negotiations?
100%. 100. Because one of the things is that I think strikes don't happen is that vet players have so much pull, and usually veteran players will, I don't want to say fuck over the younger players, but they'll usually take agreements that will be more fortuitous for veteran players in the interim than they will for younger players in the interim, because they're like, we've already been younger players, so like, fuck it, 6 years of control, who gives a shit? I'm done with that. My service time's finished. I'm a free agent. But what we're seeing now is that veteran players are feeling the effects and I think are in general more sympathetic to what's been going on with like service time manipulation, whether they've gone through it themselves like Chris Bryant did, or whether they haven't, like what we're seeing with a lot of players on like the Blue Jays wanting to have Vlad up, or what have you, or Twins players wanting to have Buxton up, whatever. We're seeing a lot of vet players no longer wanting to see young players get fucked over, so they'll have that backing from every side of this issue coming together and probably saying, give me the strike.
Manny Machado and Eric Hosmer came forward this season with the Padres and were like, hey, we don't care what it's going to cost. We need Fernando Tatis Jr. on this team to start the season.
Apparently some of the White Sox players did the same thing with Eloy Jimenez. They were like, we want Eloy Jimenez.
And look at the Padres now. They have rookies Luis Urias, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Chris Paddock, and somewhat Matt Strahm all starting. Yeah,
and I mean, that's what it should be. That's what you think. And look at the Mets. Like, Pete Alonso has been phenomenal for them, and I take back everything I ever said. Like, they made the absolute right decision by bringing him up. Business side of it, fucking be damned. I just don't see how players are possibly going to want to give concessions in the next CBA, because they've been so dicked by these things. One of the other things that makes me kind of upset about this, and I want to know what you think about it. So Yasmani Grandal, right? He took a 1-year deal, right, with the Brewers.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just going to pull it up. Oh yeah, you go ahead. You're faster than me anyway.
All right, here we go. So his current deal is a 1-year, $18.25 million contract with a 1-year option in 2020.
Right. All right. Then that's what I was thinking. So one of the reasons that he gave for holding out and not taking, I think the rumor was a 4-year, $60 million deal with the Mets, was that in his mind, one of the responsibilities of players is to advance the contract size to help out other players who are coming up on their new contracts. And so he didn't want to take a $15 million AAV because he believed that as a premier catcher, one of his jobs was to increase the AAV over time so that other premier catchers who hit free agency have a basis to argue for why they should get more money going forward. So that teams can't point and be like, well, Yasmani Grandal, who's the best free agency catcher last season, took only 15 a season. You think you're better than Grandal? So he was like, I want to take a higher AAV, not just for myself, which I'm sure there's a selfish reason to it as well. I mean, it's money. You take it when you can get it, especially as an athlete. But that's one of the things that he felt was important. I'm willing to believe that because of how MLB players treat these issues. And I'm willing to bet you right now, Corwin, there's a fuck ton of very angry second basemen. Very angry second baseman with Ozzie Albies, who just screwed them.
Tanked the market.
Especially since he's not just a good starting second baseman. He is an all-star second baseman.
He's so young.
Fucked them. He fucked his entire position.
Usually youth comes at a premium. And like from every single angle you look at it, this is a horrible deal.
Mm-hmm. And it's tough to even figure out where to start, right? Because
Where does the market bounce back from this? Like, there's really nobody who's going to sign such a major contract that'll reset it the way this did. Usually when we talk about resetting the market, it's with like a major QB deal or something like that, like something that moves the market up. This brings
Carey
it
Price
so far
extension
back.
in hockey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's why I think the strike's going to have to come up, because it's going to have to do like a factory reset of fucking prices, because this is just nonsense. And as much as I'm so mad about like the whole fucking up the second base market for Ozzie Albies, it's his fault, and it's not his fault because I feel so bad for the kid. He's 22. He's a kid. I am older than him. And how do you look at someone and say you should have said no to $35 million? Someone from a poor country that has a population less than the DR that we already talked about, and say you shouldn't take that to set up your family for life because there's greater implications to that. That's really tough. And that's part of an agent's job to let him know you don't do that and hold out. There's something upcoming. We'll work on a better one. Give me some time. I've got your back. And he fucked it up. It's part of the Braves as an organization to say, we're going to give you what you deserve, not just what we want to pay you, but what we think you truly deserve, like the Angels did for Mike Trout. And they fucked that up. And it's just such a failure all around. And there's so many things to be mad about. The one thing I just don't think you can be mad is that Ozzie Albies got put in such a shitty position. I feel so bad for him that he ended up making just the worst decision he could possibly make. But I understand how he got there, and that's what makes me so fucking sad about it. It's not like he just didn't fucking know. I mean, he made what he thought was an informed, emotional, and rational decision, and because he just got fucking lied to. Straight up lied to. Or at least oversold, to be more gentle.
Right. You have anything else? Any final comments on this Ozzie Albies and MLB contract debate?
It just makes me sad, man. It makes me like real world sad. I feel so bad for these kids. I really do. It's a tough, tricky, treacherous world out there right now for player contracts.
In an attempt to try and lighten the mood, I feel like we need to talk about something extremely important that happened today.
What was it?
Tiger Woods winning the Masters tournament.
I know! That was amazing!
His first major win since June 16th, 2008, 11 years ago at the U.S. Open. His first serious major win, not major win, but like first big-time win since 2013 when he won the Players' Championship. This is so fucking huge.
I saw someone say that like this is
excited.
the equivalent of getting the 2005 White Sox back together and then having that team win the World Series.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Honestly,
is a big
kinda.
fucking deal. Especially as like a guy
Honestly, I think it's so much bigger than that, though.
well, just from like I think an age and performance standpoint, I agree. It's definitely Tiger Woods winning is definitely bigger, for sure. From like an emotional comeback standpoint, especially because like I don't remember prime Tiger. Do you remember? I mean, I think we were just too young for like.
I
prime
remember the
Tiger.
tail end of Prime Tiger.
Yeah, same. That's a good way of putting it.
So, like, my dad and I have always kind of watched golf in the summer, especially when I was, in middle school and high school, when I come home on a weekend, or I come home on the weekends, every week. I don't have school, so I could just sit around and watch TV. I'd watch these tournaments Thursday, Friday, and then when my dad was home on Sunday, after we would do, like, yard work and stuff, we'd sit around, watch some golf together, and we'd always be there rooting for, like, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, Vijay Singh, just like the last of like the major winners from back in the day. And it was like watching Michael Jordan or like Wayne Gretzky. Like this guy was just so much better than everyone else in like a game like golf where any one player can just shoot a fantastic round on any given day. And you don't expect the best guy to always be the one winning. It was wild. He was in contention in every tournament. it was such a surprise if he ever didn't make a cut or, wasn't in the top 5 at the end of the tournament or the championship, whatever it was. Not having him win for so long made golf a worse sport, and I feel like this is going to bring so many people back to it.
I mean, it's kind of got me interested in it for like the first time because I never had anyone that really brought me into golf. I mean, the 3 sports I follow were 3 sports because I had people who got me involved in them to some capacity. But I remember so much fucking hype for Tiger when I was like in like middle school and early high school. Like people loved Tiger. He was literally the only golfer I could name. That was well before I knew who the fuck Phil Mickelson was or anybody else. Like I only knew who the fuck Tiger Woods was because he was just revered. So I think the fun part of this for me was just, even if you don't know golf or golfers or don't like the sport, just the story of this. Just the sheer fucking story of this. I mean, this is the end of a Lifetime movie. Like this is going to be the final, the conclusion of his eventual documentary or biopic, where after he like sinks the shot and like raises his fist and does the fist pump and then shouts to the crowd and shit, it's going to fade to black and it's going to be like, and Tiger Woods lived for like 40 more years before dying in his home peacefully. And like this is like the last scene of the movie.
What a dark turn that took.
I mean, everything has to come to an end eventually. But this was like, I genuinely enjoyed following like in the low key way I did because I have a life. I didn't have the chance to watch the tournament. I did kind of like check in here and there to see where he was at, just because I was so fucking excited for him. It's just such a cool thing to happen.
So, like, all of us went out for brunch this morning before everybody left, which we'll talk about later. And we tried to make sure we got back early just so we were able to watch the last, 6 or 7 holes, pretty much the back 9 of the Masters, just to see if Tiger could pull it off. And people who didn't have a care in the world about golf were all sitting there just, hands covering their face, trying, to cover their eyes if something bad happened, rooting for Tiger to succeed. Just wanting to see Tiger win another major, especially the Masters,
I think that just goes to show you the value of a good fucking storyline in sports. I mean, I had people watching the World Series in 2016 when the Cubs won who didn't give a single flying fuck about baseball. Not a flying fuck. And it was just such a great story because either one of these two teams, a team that hadn't won it in over 70 years and a team that hadn't won it in 108 years, were going up against each other to try to figure out who's going to break their streak the longest. It was a big fucking deal. Bill Murray cried.
Bill Murray did cry. God, I love Bill Murray.
I love
We should get him
Murray.
on.
Yeah, totally. I'll hit him up. Yeah, that was a really cool moment for Tiger, and I'm glad that we got to see it. If nothing else comes of his career for the remainder of it, this will be a defining moment for the sport of golf, let alone Tiger Woods.
I can't wait to watch him at the rest of the majors this year. Anything else you want to talk about regarding this or any other sports going on today?
Well, the only other thing I wanted to bring up is I went to my first Yankees game of the season on Friday.
Nice.
Yanks White Sox. They did lose in 7 innings because of the rain out. I had a fantastic time at the game, though. I ended up buying very cheap seats just to go with me and my brother. Combined
How'd that work out?
With fees, I paid $12 for both tickets. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, every season I get an
How'd that
email.
work out?
Hold on. Every season I get an email saying pitchers and catchers have reported. Why don't you buy tickets for no money? And every year I go yeah, these tickets cost nothing. I'll buy 2 shitty ass seats and go. So you sit in the grandstands or whatever, watch an early season baseball game and hang out. It's a good time. So my brother and I are sitting there. I got my scorecard out. I'm filling in all the names and shit, And this woman comes up to us wearing a Yankee Stadium badge and holding a bunch of papers and was like, hey, how you two doing today? And we're like, good. And she was like, is it just the two of you? I'm like, yeah. She goes, all right, well, you guys just got upgraded, so why don't you come with me? And we're just like, what the fuck? Excuse me? And she was like, yeah. let's go. So then she takes us down out of the grandstands. We go over to the elevator. We go down all the way to the first floor. She starts walking us into the grand concourse, and then she pulls us off to the side, and she's like, yeah, I just need you. Here's 2 tickets. You're going to be in section 128, which is like right past third base. You just need to sign this little waiver, and then, yeah, you're good. And we were like, what the fuck is this? So I'm freaking out to my brother because I never win anything. I feel like I'm the least lucky person. I had a conversation with Ethan once where I was convinced that this shit was fake, that they just point the camera at people who were sitting in that seat to begin with and said, act like we moved you here. Because I didn't think this shit actually went down. And do you know how expensive those seats are that I sat in?
I don't want to know. I do want to know.
I believe... Because I check on prices all over the stadium every now and then. I believe the section we sat in 128's like $160 a ticket, $180 a ticket before the fees.
Not too shabby.
Before the fees. So like that shit was like I spent $12 to get us $400 tickets. I had a great fucking time. We sat right behind a group of White Sox fans who were righteous dudes. Really, really cool guys. And we sat right in front of a Yankees fan and his girlfriend, and I hated him so fucking much. I hated it. He was full of shit. Full of shit. So he was younger than me. I could tell just by the way he talked and his face. Younger than me, right? You know who he said his favorite Yankee was growing up?
Who?
Tino Martinez. That's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. You don't remember Tino Martinez. I don't remember Tino Martinez.
I don't know who that is.
He was the Yankees' first baseman for a few of the championship seasons. He played for the Yankees from 1996 to 2001. So he retired. He left the Yankees for the Cardinals. I just had the page up. Yeah, when I was 7. And like, there's no this dude was, if he was older than me, dude, it was barely, right? And this is what really pissed me off about it. And this is how I knew he was full of shit. Because during the course of the game, the Jumbotron asked some kind of question, and the answer was Chuck Knoblauch, right? Do you know who Chuck Knoblauch is?
No.
He was the Yankees' second baseman. At like the same time Tino Martinez was there. He was most known for having the yips. He just like could not throw the ball to second base. He's like the poster child for infielder yips. Like second baseman, the throw to first is the shortest. The ball? Yeah, he just airmailed it. He just couldn't fucking throw to first base. He just could not do it. He was in his head about it. He couldn't do it. So
he was John Lester?
No, he was worse because at least a pickoff move is complicated. Like, imagine how small of a distance first base to second baseman is. It's not far.
Right.
It's less than that distance. And it's a throw you're going to have to make many times per game, and he couldn't do it. But anyway, the answer was Chuck Knoblauch. This guy had no idea who Chuck Knoblauch was. He played ball 25 feet from Tino Martinez. He had no idea. He was like, who the fuck is Chuck Knoblauch? I'm like, you could go fuck your own face. You're trying to sound cool next to this girl who does not know baseball. His girlfriend didn't. That's fine. But stop trying to act like you can impress her by mentioning a vintage Yankees player that you don't fucking remember. Trying to act cool to a woman who didn't know who he was 2 minutes before this conversation. God. And then you're going to act like you don't know who Chuck the fuck Knoblauch is, who's way more famous than Tino Martinez is, for having this major issue. I was furious.
Josh?
Yes.
I love you. Your pettiness never ceases to fucking amaze me. It's unbelievable. Who gives a fucking shit who this guy says his favorite baseball player was when he was growing up?
Because he lied. He lied to sound cool.
How do you know he lied?
Because then how does he not know who Chuck Knoblauch is? How do you know Tino Martinez and not know Chuck Knoblauch? They played on the same fucking team 30 feet apart.
When I was growing up, Paul Posluszny was my all-time favorite player. I don't know who the fucking starting nose tackle was who played in front of him that set him up for all those tackles.
Football has over 22 starting players on it, on a 53-man roster. I don't know. If you ask me who the starting right guard for the Jets is, I have no idea who that is right now. Give me a few games into the season and I might figure it out. It's baseball. The lineups happen every day. Every day you get to see these guys' names.
So when you're a little kid, you don't care who like the starting lineups are every day. You have your player that you focus on every single day.
But I'm saying you wouldn't not know who it is. You wouldn't be like, who the fuck is Chuck Knoblauch? Maybe to go like, oh wow, I haven't thought about Chuck Knoblauch in forever. Like that's how I feel about Scott Brocious. Like I never remember that Scott Brocious was third baseman for the Yankees until I think about. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me, not you. All I remember him from is like recording the last out of David Cohn's perfect game and having like a ridiculous postseason run in either 98 or 99. I forget which one it was. But like I know who he was because you see the lineups all the time. The fact that you could sit there and say, I know who Tino Martinez is, he's my favorite player, and on a 9-man batting lineup, in a 9-man infield, I've never seen the name of the man who plays directly next to him. In baseball, that's ludicrous. In baseball, not any other sport, that's ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous.
You make some sense. Not a lot, but some sense. On a scale from
No, that
Joe
makes
Klecko,
all the sense in the world.
Okay. On a scale from Joe Klecko to Adolf Hitler, how much do you hate this kid?
I'll go with Heinz Ward.
That gives me no insight at all.
Yeah, because it's a stupid fucking question.
I lobbed myself up like a softball, and you smacked me out of the park on that one.
Yeah, I know.
Touche, good sir.
Yeah, and anyway, but I had a great time at that game. It was really cool. I got drenched by rain, but it was awesome. Really? Yeah. Oh, dude, we got covered. Honestly, it kind of made the whole game way more dramatic, and I kind of enjoyed it at parts. I did not enjoy it the whole car ride back, but I did kind of every now and then. It was pretty cool, and I got to see Eloy Jimenez's first major league career home run in person. Cool. It was.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah,
that's if he turns out, that'll be such a memorable moment.
Yeah, despite the fact that look, man, baseball teams are going to lose all the time. I'm cool with going to Yankees losses, even though I paid to get in or whatever. Like, they're going to lose a bunch of games. I had a good fucking time.
Right, like that's how I feel about like a big difference between like football and baseball. Like I've gone to, dozens and dozens and dozens of football games over the years. It sucks when they lose, but it's because that's like losing 10% of their games in a season or something like that. I've been to, many handfuls of baseball games through the years. At the end of the day, unless it's a really tough, close loss, 161 more games to play. Why not?
Yeah, that's just going to be the way. Have a good time at the park.
Oh,
that's why
the only reason to go.
That's why I like keeping score.
Just enjoy the day. Have fun. It's baseball. You can't be upset watching baseball.
No, you gotta just enjoy your time at the ballpark. That's really all there is to it. Don't force it. But
baseball's the fucking best.
I know it is, baby. You don't gotta tell me. But yeah, that's all I got. I'm good otherwise.
I mean, I spent all of yesterday doing my own thing at the Penn State football spring game, which is basically just an excuse to sit around and drink and tailgate all day in the middle of April instead of middle of October. The first team offense beat the first team defense. That's really the only thing that matters.
That's actually interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to have it where it was like the first team offense and defense versus the second team offense and defense, and it was a shit show, and it was absolutely horrible to watch. This wasn't too bad. I mean, it's a spring game, so it's literally just like watching practice, but
yeah, I mean,
it's more about the tailgating and having fun in the sun than it is.
The Jets do one of those every year in like August. That's like a fan event. Like, hey, and it's free. Like, it's like, hey, come out. They'll have like Jets themed games before the practice scrimmage, and then there'll be the scrimmage, and just come. They have it at like Rutgers Stadium. Yeah, they're those events are fucking great. I love those things.
Oh yeah,
the team you like, and you do dumb team adjacent stuff beforehand, like drinking or whatever. It's great. It's a good time.
Mm-hmm. It's like baseball. It's just there to have fun.
If only life was more like baseball, the world would be a better place.
You're not wrong, sir. You are not wrong.
Yeah, I know it. All right, let's get out of
Anything
here.
else you want to touch on? All right,
Nah,
okay.
let's finish it up. All right, if you want to hit us up on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod, JuicingPod. If you want to reach us at via email, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And if you want to find the show notes for this episode and all previous episodes, you can do so at juicingthenumbers.wixsite.com/website, juicingthenumbers.wixsite.com/website. And until Thursday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.